Hello, and welcome to the Authentically Elisa podcast, Unmasking Your True Self. I'm Elisa Bogarts, your guide on this journey to discovering the most genuine version of yourself. Each episode is a step towards unveiling the incredible power that lies within you as we strip away all the shoulds and shine a light on the coulds. Together, we'll explore the path of self-empowerment, self-confidence, and the courage to be unapologetically you. Thank you for being here. So let's dive into today's episode, and we're going to be talking about the mojo we lost and how we can regain our mojo after the pandemic. And today I have an amazing guest with me, Denise Meridith. And Denise is a senior executive with over 40 years of success in government, academia, and hospitality, and is the first woman professional hired. She served in the Bureau of Land Management for 29 years and becoming its top careerist with 10,000 employees and $1 billion budget. Wow. After early retirement, she founded Denise Meridith Consultants Inc, a PR firm and the world's best connectors, a virtual community of C-suite executives. Welcome, Denise.
Oh, great. I appreciate you inviting me here.
Happy to be here too. So tell me about, love to know a little bit more about you and like a time in your life when maybe you kind of weren't being your authentic self, or maybe a time where you lost your mojo and kind of what you did to overcome that.
Okay, the authenticity, I have a interesting example. As you mentioned, I was the first woman, so that's always curious. I was the first woman in this federal agency, if you could believe that. And so
Wow.
I used to joke that it was 5,000 cowboys and me. And
Yeah.
so it was really sort of almost a daily challenge,
Mm,
so to speak. And okay, so it was cowboys, which is fine. My dad grew up on a ranch, so I knew, about horses and guns and stuff like that. But but then it's a federal agency. I graduated from Cornell, a little different,
right.
little different style, a little different tack. I grew up in New York City, which has its own style, right? And so here I was thrust into the Wild West.
Right.
Um, and so I had to make a decision actually on what to go. I could go cowboy boots and jeans and big buckles and do that. I could do that. And, if you went out in the field, you did that. But I thought about it, and I just decided to be me. And,
Amazing.
but that's a big decision to make, in something like this, because could work very much against you. And it did pop up. I remember a guy shaking his finger in my face. We used to have a good time before you got here. We didn't used to have to dress up or anything.
Oh.
And I'm
Not
going
my
like,
fault that you feel you need to do that.
I know, that's what I'm saying. You can be
Yeah.
yourself. So, but it wasn't over the top. It was appropriate business attire. But I wanted to make the impression to them that the world is changing. So the people coming to our office now weren't the ranchers. They were the lawyers of the ranchers. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was trying to get the agency to sort of move, but it was really a constant struggle, day to day, on how you spoke, and then African Americans have that issue anyway in this country. We're multilingual in that we have to speak many different languages depending on where we are. So
Right.
authenticity is just a big issue. And my whole thing with people, you might as well just be who you are, be comfortable, and you will
Yeah,
attract the right people, right?
exactly. Exactly.
And things will happen.
And that can
So,
be super tough too, because sometimes it's like, well, I don't know if I know who I am because I'm always somebody else depending on the situation.
yeah, and I've done stuff in entertainment and whatever. So I sort of marvel at those people who are on all the time. You know what
Right.
I mean? They have to be something they're not. So that would be, I think, very stressful, and they have a lot of stress, have a lot
Yeah.
of drug and alcohol issues, as a result. So, but I'm me. I'm, funny. So a New York type of humor. But anyway, so I just decided just to hang out with people who like me for me, and vice versa.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so you talk about the what happened with the pandemic to people, I think people really, one, they had to live with themselves.
Yes.
Very
And all of
closely
a
with
sudden there was
themselves.
like very little distractions beside Netflix.
Yes. And, some marriages did well with that, some did not, with having to be around each other all the time.
Hmm.
But, for me, it was, good because my sister was way older than me, so pretty much almost grew up as an only kid, so I know how to entertain myself, right, pretty much. So I, didn't have a problem with that. But what I noticed with people my age, I'm old, baby boomers, it was difficult in different ways than it was for younger people. Younger
Mm.
people, they missed the prom and all that stuff, which is important, socialization. But what I found is baby boomers and Gen X, who aren't that far behind, we thought we had it made. Literally on February 1st, 2020, economy's booming. I was down in Miami Super Bowl week. We were making deals and doing stuff and partying. Yay. Having a top of the world. So a lot of baby boomers, we were at the top of the world. We had been through all that hard stuff, a lot of things happened in our generation, been through all that hard stuff, finally making it. 2 weeks later, it's over,
Hmm.
right? Uh,
Shut down.
gone. My company is a consulting company. Who are you going to consult with? No one's doing anything, right? So no income for like 2 years. So,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
others, had that sort of issue too. And then it didn't help when it came time to go back, which was last year. In fact, I think for baby boomers, probably more of a disappointment that than even a shock of not working because we thought, okay, we're back.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, we're. And we get to the office, and guess what? We're the only ones there.
Yeah, all the other ones are like, I love working from home.
Yes, right. Nobody want to come back. Younger people don't want to work for you anyway. And so I think that was almost in a way as traumatic as the time itself. So to me, what I've seen is baby boomer reaction. We were revolutionary. Okay, that was our whole thing, revolution and sit-ins and carrying on. Uh, so we tend towards the anger side.
Mm,
Okay. So I know a lot of angry people. A lot of angry, they're just angry.
right. Which
They,
kind of makes people want to be around you even less.
yeah, it should have happened or should it, and why are they not listening to me and blah, 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 blah. So what I'm hoping to do, what I've been working on, and I've worked with individual coaching people, but I want to do it on a bigger level, is help them get back to because baby boomers, it was ironic because we had a lot of happy times too, in between all the horrible things, and a lot of horrible things happen, but you think of Woodstock and these different, there were things that were fun
Yeah.
in our lives, okay? Um, and we had dreams because we thought we could change the world, right?
Mm.
That was our thing. We were gonna change it all. Didn't turn out, but anyways, we thought so. We were very optimistic at the time. So what I do with people is, turn back the clock before the pandemic. One, where you were happy. Some people get them to realize they didn't like that job anyway.
Right. Yeah. So many people, I think, had that realization.
Right.
Lots
So
of people.
here, let's look at this being a happy moment. This is a second chance to
Yeah.
get it right, to do what you really had wanted to do, but you were never going to leave that job because it was a job.
You had it
And
made and things were great, right?
yeah, so look at it in a positive way. Now you have a second chance to do it, or go back to um, what aspects you liked about that are still that you can still deal with. And also, I get people, your job doesn't have to be your life.
Mm,
I believe in playing as hard as you work. So let's find, so job is not the greatest, whatever. Well, let's find the fun stuff that you like to do. Why aren't you going to the ball game? Well, it's expensive. Well, yeah, but season tickets, if that's what you like to do, then instead of buying this, you buy season tickets and enjoy those games. So get people to sort of look for the joy in the world,
mm.
fun things that they can do.
And that's living
and
authentically, right?
yeah,
Actually finding those
yeah,
things and doing the things you want and yeah, doing the type of work that you like. That's
hmm
living authentically.
yeah,
Yeah.
because there was a lot of pretense. There may have been a lot of pretense in the
Right.
past about what you were doing. And why I'm doing it actually is because I really want to, I think there's so much knowledge in that group, so much experience, know-how,
Yeah.
EQ. They know a lot of things. And we're losing that. We're losing that knowledge,
Mm.
losing that know-how because they're leaving. Yeah, just being mad, hanging it up, right? Hang it up.
Yeah.
Give it. I give up. When I think we really need it, and it's a challenge because we don't present well with Gen X and with Gen Z and Gen Y. And so I work with them on, well, maybe this, because all I hear literally is, I hate millennials. I must hear that umpteen times a week. Right?
Right.
I hate millennials. Amen. Okay, let's see. Okay, millennials are here. They're here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Everywhere.
Yeah, I had a conference last month on the generation gap, and it was called "How to Attract and Retain Zoomers." Okay, okay, they're here. You need them. Uh, they need
Yeah.
you. You may not think they need you, but So I work with people. I'm mentoring other people, particularly maybe other generations, because I've always worked with youth,
Mm,
pretty much my whole career,
nice.
and get along with younger people quite a bit. So that's that mix of authenticity that you talk, and it's very important in this day and age. Look at the misinformation,
Mm,
surrounded by misinformation, right?
it's
Uh,
twofold.
yeah. So, and I worked in federal government, politics. Forget it. I tell people just stop, just because you can't change it. It's temporarily dysfunctional. Okay, so vote for who you want to vote for. You don't need to hate Joe because he voted for somebody else. That's ridiculous
Right.
stuff. Focus on what you and Joe like to do together.
Right. Yes, exactly. You can vote. Like people think about that too. Sometimes like even in anything that you do, like focus on the people that you're here and actually being with right now as opposed to the people that are not.
Mhm.
Right. And sometimes we can focus
Yeah,
on like that as well. So
yeah.
what advice would you give to um, someone wanting to be like their true authentic self, if you think about
So,
that, or like how to kind of get that mojo back in an authentic way?
yeah. And the way I'm doing it right now, with the mastermind approach is who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
If you stick around negative people,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna, it's just gonna irritate you even more. So
Yeah.
one is finding the right audience, and again, looking at what you like to do, and finding people who like to do that. And
Yes.
there are groups for everything. If you
Totally.
like
Yeah.
butterflies, there's a butterfly group. I
Yeah.
know a guy who has, I guess, a mastermind, and he's made $1 zillion off an octopus. He has a site that's about octopus and has made tons of money. People getting cups with the octopus on it or whatever. So you can find, he's my best example. You can find a group for anything. So these are
Yeah.
people
Get
that,
in where you fit in, right?
yeah.
Get in where
And
you
so
fit
that's
in.
a big part of it, and our groups, and I'm pretty selective. I'll be pretty selective on my group that, people who like to play in the sandbox. Some people are just too lost. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a
Yeah.
psychologist or anything like that. Um, so there has to be some salvageability there, so to speak. But and I look at people who are charismatic before, who are happy before, who were successful before, and then see if we can take them back to that spot because they have it.
Mm.
They have the talent, they have the charisma, they have what it takes. They've just sort of lost their way. And so I try to help them get back on that track. And it may be using those same skills for something entirely different.
Right. Yeah. And so you can even think about that. Like, if you want to even think even further back, like, what did you like doing as a kid? What were you
Yes,
really like
that's
good at
that's one
then,
of the questions.
Yeah. And even, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like when you were your most happy, what were you doing? Who were you surrounded by? And I find that too when you're talking about surrounding yourself with people, sometimes that can mean also letting go of some people, or perhaps
Yes.
shifting the relationship to be a bit different, right? And that can be quite hard. But in order to like live authentically and like you said, yeah, you want to be
Mm.
around the people you enjoy being around because they will bring you more joy and you want to have your joy in your life. And so yeah, sometimes like evaluating those relationships, and like you can even do that with like, as like one thing I like to tell my clients is like, how do you feel either during or after you're with a particular person?
You're right.
Right? Is it positive
Yep.
feelings? Like, does it give you energy and you're like, oh, that was awesome? Or like, oh, I have so much gratitude for that person. Or are you sort of grumpy and angry or irritated or you, right? And so it's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
if you notice the kind of negative feelings that are consistent, right? You can have good
Mhm.
days, bad days, everybody has that. But if
Mhm.
it's consistently like that, then you might want to reevaluate
Yeah.
having or how
Yeah.
much you want to
That's a
have that
big
person in your life. Yeah.
That's a big one. The relative issue becomes an issue, but
Right.
sometimes you need space from
Yeah.
them as well, right? And then, and what I find hard to believe is people that when it's not even a relative and they're still sticking around. And I have a client I've been working with. She's very proud of her as she finally said no. I mean, it's like, because saw her doing something over and over, and she was miserable and it's
Mm.
horrible in a relationship to another person. And finally, she texted me yesterday. I said, no,
Yay.
I'm not coming over. And I'm like, yay,
Yes.
right? Because, yeah, but it's, really difficult decision for her. And so she texted me this morning. I still feel good about
Oh,
that.
nice. Excellent.
So
That's
decision.
great.
Yeah, so it's but and it's been working with her for a year. But it's you have to start somewhere, and baby boomers, we don't have a lot of time left. We got to get it together, and you might as well make it happy. But what I think is so critical is that link between the generations,
Mm.
because baby boomers are linked with the senior group that was before us, hated each other. Okay, those groups hated each other. The big difference, I think, is communication, but they talked about it.
Right.
Okay. They disagreed, but they talked about it. They had debates. They had blah, 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 blah. And now there's no communication.
And communication is so important in everything in life. Everything.
Yeah. And that's it. So so I and like my masterminds, I'll try to no, I try. This is what I do anyway. But I have fun too. I have a movie group. We go to movies. And that
Nice.
gets difficult to pick the right movie, but that'll fit everybody. But
Yeah.
it's simple things. Once a month, like mastermind once a month, to just be with people that you can relax with, not people you work with, so you don't have to
Mm.
worry about talking, you know, about something that should be confidential or whatever,
Right,
you know.
right, right. Yeah.
Um, Another thing, and I do have a free gift that I give out sometime. It's called the Mentor's Almanac. Um, we're so used to being the mentor, the people I'm working with, the executives,
Right.
you don't have anybody to talk to. So a
Mm. It's
big
lonely
part
at
of
the
what
top.
we're talking about, here are other people that you could talk to. At
Right. Oh, that's so
the top,
important.
you
Yeah.
know. And we very seldom get that because you're busy and blah blah blah, and you can't talk to anybody anyway because
Right.
you are the person, right? You're the person at the top. And so to be around other people and just relax, even if it's just once a month, just
Hmm.
relax. And maybe you could talk about uh, where you went for vacation, or maybe you could talk about, because people at work don't want to hear about your vacation. But you can, or a hobby, we could do a hobby, or we'll do a fun thing, go to uh son's game or something. Um, to just break people out of that grind,
Mm.
even once a month will be helpful, and around, and they'll meet new people,
Yeah.
which is always good. And it's hard to do. it's hard to do for an executive, really. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, I think
you
for
know,
anybody kind of like trying to make new friends can be hard. But yeah,
mm,
especially when you're at that level. And yeah, and even like I feel like the number of executives like is it's the smallest of the whole organization, right? Like there's like
yeah,
way more sort of mid-level
right.
than you have them. So even then it's kind of harder to find them. So that's amazing that you make a little community for them and kind of help
Yeah,
them escape out of that. Thank
yeah.
you.
And my little mentor's almanac, so I have a little mantra each day of things that they can say to other people, or they can use it for
Mm.
themselves as far
Yeah.
as
Tell us
a
one. What's your
little
favorite?
encouragement every day. So it's 365 days to become a better leader.
Oh,
But
amazing. What's your
so,
favorite mantra?
um, it's almost the just being yourself. And there are a lot of different ways I say that in there. But it's funny because the authenticity you talk about, when I saw that listed, oh, that's a good topic for me because I think that's really the heart of everything. And that's what's missing these days in politics in particular, but in other things as well. That um, and people want, and what people want from politicians, is just be whoever you're gonna be. And
Right.
I vote for you or not. Okay? Don't try to be what you think I might want
Right.
now, right?
Right. You can't possibly know that.
Yes. Let me think of and, maneuver and then change the next year because something else is in, right?
Right.
Uh, so, and we're losing that, um, Sandra Day O'Connor, passing this recently. She was super authentic. I've gotten to meet her in the
Amazing.
past, and John McCain was a mentor of mine.
Mm,
So I've been very blessed to be around those type of role models who,
right.
right to the end, they were who they were and
Yes,
created
exactly.
problems for them from time to time. But that's you want to go out that way. Uh,
Hmm. Wow,
well,
that's the perfect way to close out this episode. Thank you. Exactly. Be
yeah,
you and
yeah,
continue until the very end. So
right.
where can our listeners, how
Yeah.
can they connect with you online?
DeniseMeredith.com. The thing people have to remember is the way I spell Meredith. And I say, you have two eyes, I have two eyes. So it's Meridith, which is an unusual spelling. But it's Denise at DeniseMeredith.com. They could just drop me a line and I'll send them a copy of Mentor's Almanac anyway. Free.
Yes, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that gift.
Okay.
All right. So kind of to close off today, we talked about some amazing things about that yeah, getting to know you better, that you were like that sort of first woman and all the adversity that you went through, and then how to get your mojo back. And that one of the key things that I'm taking away is that to surround yourself with like-minded people that you like being with, and then also can have joy with, and maybe the two of you can do something that you enjoy doing together too. Fill your life with the
Yeah.
things that you want.
Thank you, Elisa.
Thanks for
Bye-bye.
being here. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope it inspired you to live a more authentic life. I'd love your help in inspiring more people to live authentically. So please follow, rate, and leave a review so we can create a ripple effect of authenticity. Until next time, stay true to you, be bold, and thrive on your own terms. This is Elisa, signing off authentically.